If somebody is trying to lowball you and you take that project on, and then somebody who's willing to pay you what you're worth comes around the corner and you do not have the time to work with them, you are going to regret it so much. Hi friends, it's Alex. Welcome to another episode of Guiding Creatives, the community for creatives, freelancers, the multi-passionate. We talk about everything from creative careers, trends in the gig economy, and how to be a good freelancer. And today we're going to talk about how you make the money you deserve. Today we're going to talk about the art of negotiating. This is going to be a step-by-step kind of guide, so if there's a certain chapter you need more than others, I will have them timestamped below. I'm going to get comfortable because we're really going to have this discussion and get into depth with it. So first, let's just define negotiating. This is when you are either starting a project, renewing a contract, or you're in the middle of a contract and there's been changes requested, or maybe something has changed and you need to renegotiate the offer. So somebody could be bringing you their budget, what they want to work with, and what they want, and you need to renegotiate so that it fits your time, your value, your worth, and just makes it a collaborative experience. So let's dive in. Before you even go into this negotiation discussion, you need to know your market rates, your values, and your lowest offer. You need to know from your experience the lowest you can go before it becomes something that's not profitable. I'm not saying you have to do this number. If your client can't even start negotiating around this number, then it's probably not even worth doing. And you can also make this very clear by saying, this is the lowest I can go, and this may not even include all of your requests. If this is out of your budget, then unfortunately we won't be able to work together. Because you also don't want to waste all of your time in a negotiation. I spent so much time doing proposals, the back and forth for people who simply could not afford me at all. And it's just, we're wasting each other's time. So don't bother with that if it's not going to happen. You also want to evaluate the experience and knowledge you'll gain. So there have been times that I've done something at a lower rate because I'm really interested in the market. I'm interested in what I can learn from this person, or I can get like a lot of just great experience from what they need. Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it's just something a little bit new. Sometimes I think of that as an investment, so you can use this when you're thinking about what is a right negotiation price, but be careful with this because if you fall into this trap, you'll be doing everything for experience and nothing for profit, and then you won't be able to keep running your business. And the final thing you need to know before going into this negotiation is know what people are charging in your space. If you are consistently lowballing yourself, it's because you don't know what other people are offering. That is me. I have consistently offered below market rates because I had not taken the time to do market research. When you finally learn what you should be paid, you're like, this makes so much sense. So just make sure you have that defined for yourself. My advice there is to work out what your hourly rate needs to be. Think about what you're investing, how much time it takes, how much knowledge you're bringing to the table. Think about what your lowest hourly can be. So you have that low number. Look at what other people are charging. Maybe it's per project. Look at those numbers and compare. Go into the negotiation with the lowest project price you can go and the lowest hourly. Because if somebody is also trying to argue your project price, you can say, well, pay me hourly. That is a rude awakening. If anyone ever agrees to that they are probably getting you less than your hourly when you work on a project. So make sure you make that very clear to them. The next thing you need to go into a negotiation is you need to have a case built for why you're requesting a higher rate. So if somebody is asking you to do more, if something has changed in like a 6-month contract, or you work with somebody month to month and something has changed, you already have a leg to stand on because we've deterred ourselves from the initial proposal and contract. Make sure you put everything in writing. But you already have a leg to stand on because something's changed. So if that has changed, then something on your end has to change as well. One thing you have to show is return on investment. You have to show these people that, yes, it looks like a lot of money, but this is what I can do for you. And this will often put in perspective what they're paying for. A lot of people, when they think about transaction, they think about the work that is done and not what results from the work being done. So you have to bring this to the forefront so you're both thinking about it. And then on top of that, you need to show them that they're not just paying somebody to do the job. That's something I really had to learn because some people will pay people to just do the job. Maybe they'll correct it. Maybe they don't have high expectations. They just want to save themselves time. I've done roles like that where I've hired out, I had to tweak it a little bit, but I didn't care because it saved me time. But there are some roles and jobs where you are expecting huge results. And that's when you need to realize you're not just hiring someone to do the job, you're hiring someone who knows how to do the job right, who's bringing expert advice, expert opinions, expert knowledge that you cannot access without paying for it. So just make sure they know the reason they're working for you, the reason they sought you out is because you have something to offer for them, and then show them examples, show them what you've offered to other people. This will help really build your case. The next has to do with the timing of it all. When should you be negotiating? When should you bring this up? If somebody is messaging you about a project and they tell you what they need, right away, tell them around what that project is. I actually have a document that I send out that shows them a breakdown of my prices. And then I say, if something is not exactly what you're asking for, we can reach a compromise, but these are my base prices. So they know that unless they're asking for significantly less, they'll have to pay in this ballpark. So make sure the conversation is started with that so you don't waste anybody's time. If you are in a month-to-month and something is changing, or you're in a contract and something is changing, as soon as it starts changing, send the message. The pay obviously might have to change the next month. You can also retroactively pay yourself if you were doing more, but just make it clear, make it a conversation, and don't wait. Because if you don't say, hey, we've changed and this is actually going to cost you this, but you've already been doing it for 3 months, and they're like, well, why is the change now? Obviously, you still have a leg to stand on, but it's just a little bit more tension. Just do it right away. One of the awkward situations, which I found myself in, when you've been working with somebody long term, or it's a repeat client, and you realize that you've really been undervaluing yourself and your prices have changed, there's no right time to discuss that. You just have to have the discussion. Bring it up. It can lead to a compromise, it can lead to cutting ties, it can lead to a lot of things. The hardest part with that kind of negotiation is you never find the right time, so you never stand up for yourself. And you are a human being just learning. Yes, you may be an expert in your area, but not everybody is an expert in pricing or business. I'm an expert in what I do. I'm not an expert in how I price it. I'm still learning the business side. So it's okay to stand up and say, listen, I've been doing this for 6 months. My rates have changed because my business has grown. For me to continue this working relationship, we would need to adjust your rates now. Obviously, you don't have to adjust them right out of the gate. You can offer like a discount for the first couple months as you transition to this new price. Often it'll be fine if they've already seen your value and it's in their price range, but sometimes you just have to break up. And I know not everybody wants to hear that, but sometimes the client breakup has to happen for you to grow and for them to also grow. So the final step in the art of negotiation, how to handle objections and overcome some obstacles within this. So if somebody says they have a budget constraint, if they say this is the maximum I can pay you, if it is somewhere in your ballpark, but it's not exactly what you need to do that order, you can offer that you do it in milestones, so you do a bit at a time, a longer delivery, so you don't have to spend so much time doing it, maybe a partial delivery. Look for a compromise. But if their budget constraint is much too low, then you just have to say, I'm not the right freelancer for you. Because there's probably someone out there who can do it for that price because they're at that level that they need. That's what they need to understand. If you want someone to do all of your jobs with their expert level, you have to pay for it. I'm not going to just pay for the tasks and not have you pay for working with me specifically when that's why you're reaching out to me in the first place. If you have budget constraints, then you have to understand that you don't get to be so picky. And that's a hard thing for businesses and clients to understand, and you can say it in a nice way, but you do have to stand up for yourself, so just make sure you do that. If someone is requesting a discount, there's not really like a good reason for this negotiation. They just want to pay less. I would show them either, if you're already working with them, you can show them what you've done for them, or show them return on investment you've offered to other clients, and just say that you can't offer discounts. You're not in a position to do that right now, but you can show them that working with me is an investment. So paying full price will get you return. I will help you do this. I will save you time. I will get you money, whatever your selling point is for that service. Just show them. And if they just keep insisting on a discount, it's probably not a working relationship you want to get into anyway. It's different when you're saying, hey, I have a budget constraint. Can we work something out? As opposed to, I don't want to pay that. Then don't pay that and don't work with me. I can't have this discussion 20 times a day, So you have to stand firm in that. It's a boundary and it's a learning process. One thing I want you to remember before I give you the final thing on how to tie this all together is you're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to say no at any point. If the conversation is getting too taxing, if there's a little bit of dismissiveness to your role, if they're not willing to discuss what you bring to the table, they're just looking for someone to do the job, you're allowed to say that I'm not the right freelancer for you. I'm not the right person for you. It's time to take your proposal elsewhere because I'm not doing it. You can say no and still be professional, still be kind. And sometimes it is hard to say no because maybe you really do want the work. But what I want you to remember is if somebody is trying to lowball you and you take that project on, and then somebody who's willing to pay you what you're worth comes around the corner and you do not have the time to work with them, you are going to regret it so much. I had to come to that realization myself. It's a hard truth to learn, but you had to learn that, hey, there's somebody willing to pay my prices who understands where I'm coming from and is in the position to work with me. That's the person you need to wait for. Is it scary? Yes. Is it a risk? Yes. But what is more of a risk is continually undervaluing yourself because you're chasing something that is not really going to help you grow. There's compromise and there's letting yourself down. So remember that. When you reach the final moments of the negotiation, what I always want you to do, whether it's on a phone call, a Zoom call, writing, whatever it is, you're going to put this in writing, regardless, right after. You'll say, so I just want to confirm, we've reached the agreement that the role I will have is blank, blank, and blank. The timeline is blank, blank, and blank. The deliverable is blank, blank, and blank. The price is blank. Get them to confirm that. If they can't confirm that because they're saying, I don't really think that's what I agreed to, or actually I don't want to agree to that, you're probably still going to end up negotiating or walking away. If they need to talk it through with their team or think on it, that's fine. Let them do that, but just make sure you've said and you've made it clear that this is what it is. And then maybe they'll agree. Either way, after this call, whatever you're doing, you're going to get on an email. Make sure that's all recorded so they have it for reference. So if they do go away for a week and come back, or they take some time and come back, it's there. Have a paper trail. Before you start working, before you work on the next month, before you do another thing for this client if things have changed, you get a signed contract reflecting the negotiated price. Because negotiations won't matter if you do not get it in writing, stand firm in it, and make sure that it is agreed upon by both parties. This doesn't have to be a battle, but you do have to stand up for yourself, and that's something you need to figure out as a freelancer. You have to balance between learning to compromise, learning to collaborate, learning to evolve with a business and a project, while also making it clear that your evolution as a freelancer, as a creative, is worth something and it matters. Your time matters, your knowledge matters, your value matters, and you as a person matter. It's not all business, it's not all transactional, it's about a relationship, even if it's a working one. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great week and stay creative.